There's nothing like an intense rivalry in sports to pump your adrenaline. Whether it's Muhammad Ali knocking gloves with Joe Frazier or Michael Jordan versus the Detroit Pistons, every generation remembers a heated rivalry that felt unlike any other. Not only does it hype the upcoming match, but it also unites the fans in a meaningful way. So today, we're looking at 11 of the most notorious sports feuds of all time. Let's dive in, starting with number 10, Ayrton Senna versus Alain Prost. Out of all the motorsport rivalries we could have picked, there's nothing close to the one between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Ask F1 fans, and they'll tell you that this rivalry is one of the best the world has ever seen, and they're not wrong. It all started as a friendly rivalry in 1989 after Senna signed for McLaren, but the friendliness quickly turned into hatred. Anyone who knows Senna will tell you two things: he constantly pushed his boundaries, often to breaking point, or he was reckless, fast, and deeply passionate. But Prost, on the other hand, was more calculated and consistent. He took fewer risks and calculated his races to the highest precision. And who doesn't love a rivalry where the two people are opposites? They were equally matched in many aspects, but their approach to racing set them apart. You'd think Senna's arguably the greatest F1 racer of all time, but people forget that Prost earned 4 F1 championships throughout his career. Their feud came to a head at the 1990 Japanese Grand Prix when Senna swept Prost in the first corner, ultimately winning the championship title. The reason we love their rivalry so much is that when Senna tragically died at Imola, Prost was the one who took it the hardest. At number 9, it's Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. We've lost hope that Jones and Cormier will have a third bout, but the brawls that did happen were some of the greatest the UFC has ever seen. Their first bout at UFC 182 started with a fight on the onstage stare-down and ended in a unanimous decision win for Jones. But that didn't stop Cormier from lashing out at his opponent. Jones was arrested for headbutting a police officer, which Cormier used to dish out some trash talk. Talk about low blows. And then UFC 214 happened. The pair attacked each other like uncaged beasts, getting gnarly hits on one another. Cormier hit Jones with a nasty uppercut that took out his mouthguard. It was brutal to watch, but surprisingly, Jones won their rematch again by a third-round stoppage. But here's the twist. The result was flipped to a no contest after Jones tested positive for a banned substance. On the other hand, Cormier got another chance at winning the belt with an upset of heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic. We've got our fingers crossed that the two lock horns again. Up next is number 8, Roger Federer versus Rafael Nadal. Let's give the world of tennis some love, because it has some of the greatest rivalries, from Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert to John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors. But from a pure tennis perspective, nothing comes close to the Federer-Nadal rivalry in modern times. Perhaps it's their contrasting styles of play or their sheer willpower, but no two tennis players have given the world a better show than these two. Ever since Federer's first singles title at Wimbledon in 2003, the two have won 24 of the last 29 Grand Slams. But their rivalry culminated in what is considered the greatest tennis match of all time, the Wimbledon final in 2008, in which Nadal defeated the 5-time defending champion. Not to mention how it all came down to a tearful embrace on Federer's retirement. Coming in at number 7, the legendary Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. Magic and Bird are, without a doubt, two of the biggest names in NBA history, and their fierce rivalry remains one of the most electrifying to watch, even to this day. The pair are neck and neck in their overall stats, with Bird edging Johnson in total points and rebounds. But the 1987 NBA Finals were where their decade-long rivalry came to a head. The Lakers and Celtics have a well-known hatred for each other, but the two players had been playing against each other since college, and this made their clashes more layered and gave audiences an epic matchup that ended with Magic Johnson earning an MVP and Bird claiming that Magic was the greatest player he's ever seen. Now for a shocker at number 6, Tonya Harding versus Nancy Kerrigan. The Harding-Kerrigan feud is easily one of the most intense feuds in Olympic history. The two were fierce rivals from the start, with Harding defeating Kerrigan twice in 1991's US Figure Skating Championships and the ISU World Championships in Germany. But let's fast forward to 1994, when Kerrigan got out of practice in the Cobo Arena in Detroit. A masked man with a police baton walked up to her and smashed her right knee, damaging her lower quads. Thankfully, she made a full recovery and went on to give a career-best performance at the 1994 Winter Olympics. But who was the man behind the assault? None other than Tonya Harding's husband. And as you'd expect, Harding was stripped of her gold medal at the 1994 National Championships and was banned from figure skating. There's even a movie if you want to conclude why Harding let the assault happen. At number 5, it's an NBA classic, Michael Jordan versus the Pistons. The Jordan-Pistons rivalry was rather short-lived but iconic. In 1988, Air Jordan was an MVP and Player of the Year. He was untouchable, and the Bulls were charging toward victory. But everything changed when the Pistons came to play with their Jordan rules. Every battle between the Bulls and the Pistons was brutal, with the Bulls losing 5 games against their opponents. The Jordan rules were simple: guard MJ and get into the Bulls' heads, and they succeeded, essentially kneecapping Jordan's performance. This also led to the infamous infamous rivalry between Jordan and Isaiah Thomas in what is known as one of the top rivalries in the history of the NBA. Next is number 4, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. We all know of the ear-biting incident. Everyone knows that. But let's travel back to 1984 when then-amateur Evander Holyfield beat Mike Tyson to make the U.S. Olympic boxing team. They went on to win 9 gold medals, which meant that Tyson wanted revenge. Fast forward to 1996, the two men met for the first time in a fight that had 25-to-1 odds in favor of Tyson to win. But throughout the match, Holyfield proved that he was just as talented as Iron Mike. But in one of the greatest upsets in boxing history, Holyfield dropped Tyson in an 11th round TKO, winning his 3rd heavyweight championship. But then came the bite fight, one of the most bizarre fights in history, with Tyson biting Holyfield's ear twice. The first time wasn't as bad, but the second bite tore off part of Holyfield's ear, which Tyson spat on the ground. The result was Mike's disqualification and a brutal memento for Evander Holyfield. For number 3, we picked the controversial Colin Kaepernick versus the entire NFL. It started as a silent protest against racial inequality and police brutality, turning into the NFL blackballing Colin Kaepernick from the league entirely. The league has yet to acknowledge that the teams treated the 49ers quarterback poorly following the incident, and a large settlement between Kaepernick and the league confirmed everyone's suspicions that everything was hush-hush from now on. Public opinion was that the quarterback's kneeling during the national anthem was anti-American, but many supported his decision. But the NFL did little to defend him, with owners refusing to sign him despite several openings. If the feud between the NFL and Colin Kaepernick doesn't turn up in history books in the year 2500, we'll delete this video. In second place, it's none other than Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. This rivalry takes the international stage. The Ronaldo-Messi rivalry, despite not being personal, is one of the greatest rivalries in the history of sports. They are easily two of the greatest soccer players to come along. They have contrasting play styles and an incredible will to win at any cost. But the rumor is they're not particularly fond of each other off the field. Well, one thing's for sure, this is by far and large the biggest rivalry in football history, and their intense match in the 2009 Champions League final is one of the greatest to come along and left fans in awe of their abilities. Finally, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier is the most notorious at number 1. What can we say about Ali and Frazier that hasn't already been said? Their rivalry transcended time and gave audiences around the world 3 of the best boxing matches the world's ever seen. The first fight in 1971, nicknamed the Fight of the Century, was won by Frazier, but it didn't stop Ali from hurling a nasty string of abuse at his opponent. In 1975, the Thrilla in Manila got even more personal, with the two engaging in constant trash talk and frequently clashing outside the ring. Even though Ali won this bout, he thought he wouldn't make it in the middle. In their later years, Ali apologized for insulting Frazier and his family, claiming it was all for publicity, but Frazier didn't have it, and the pair never reconciled. And that's a wrap, folks. Thanks for watching. So, do you agree with our list? Which feuds do you think should have made a list? Let us know your top picks down below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Till next time.